it's good for us to have the exposure, but we're not even made aware that it's possible.
Yeah.
So, with some of the learning gaps, and so let me input mine, let's say, informing teachers of opportunities to attend professional development outside of the school. Come on, girl. Okay. All right, so now let's discuss for another, and write down for another 2 minutes, what barriers of I can't read, economically disadvantaged and at-risk students. What are some of the barriers? And then what do you think or feel is holding them back? So let's do that for 2 minutes. You stay right in the station? Oh, okay. Had a lot to say on that. Okay, so. Take no time. Alright, let's share.
Okay, I wrote down two main things for me. One was the lack of true in-class support with our high-sped population. I feel like we really need more interventionists to hit those students who are in the general education setting. And then I also put community resource outreach, classes and resources for parents who are unable to help their students so easily at home due to work schedules or lack of knowledge themselves. They're worried about where their next meal's gonna come from, and they're not worried about reading or math or things that they could do to help support their student now.
Okay.
I like that what you said.
Mhm.
Because I do find that it's not that the parents don't wanna help all the time, it's because they don't know how, or they don't know, even where to start.
Exactly.
To get resources.
Exactly.
And so I know when I first started here, and that was before COVID, right? Seemed like when COVID hit, we know everything changed, but before COVID hit, this was a campus where parents and community, they wanted to be inside of the building. And so they were able to see what helping your child in reading looks like, or what helping your child in math looks like, or whatever. Even down to behavioral issues, what does it look like, to help your child be successful? But that has gone away, with COVID, and it struggled to come back. So getting them back inside of the building to see, I think, it opens their eyes, because we do have to be real about it. It starts at home.
Right.
And if, they're not getting what they need at home, by the time they get here to us and they leave, they've lost it, because they're going home worried about other things,
Right.
not able to focus on, what we're giving them during the 8 hours or however long they're with us during the day. But the parents have to be able to start it and to keep it going, you know, and they're just lost, they don't know. So I think if we can help them and get them back in the building,
Mhm.
you'll start to see improvement.
Yeah, because that is highly important that parents show that they are involved and showing that they actually care. And believe it or not, there are some students that was just, my mama don't care.
Yeah.
You know,
Because if you
go
think
and
about
call
it, they'll show up to a basketball game or a choir concert,
Right,
you know, but when it comes down to the academic side of it, that's the disconnect,
right.
you know? So if we can figure out how to bridge those
Bring those things together.
Mhm.
Right. Ooh, help us with that. Have a table, hey, your son, he shot the 3-point, but he needs to come and do this
So-
exercise. Yeah, give me
Look,
three.
that's nice, but can you do this?
Right? Like, okay. All right, so now that now that we've identified some problems, now we would like to come up with some sort of statement. It's like, what is the overall end all for, I don't know what this is on my sheet. For the root of the problem. So we're gonna take a few minutes, 5 minutes, may not even need that. So the questions you're asking yourselves, we're gonna do this for instructors, for teachers. So we're gonna kind of reiterate what we said and ask what could be causing that problem. What's going on with the teachers to where we can't produce, right? We can't perform as we could in order to serve. And then, why do you think this is happening? I know we can definitely answer that really, really quick, right? Also, what can we do to close the gap? What can we do to help each other out in terms to instruction? Let's start with that. So, again, we don't necessarily have to take the entire 5 minutes. This portion is regarding the instructional gap, how we can get the teachers involved, how we could motivate each other to do better, and then we're asking ourselves, and then once we come back, we'll revisit this once we do the students, and then we'll come up with a statement and that we've identified as a whole. Okay? All right. Will there be some additional things that is causing the gap between instructions and students? Instructional leaders and students. You're done, that's it? Okay. Okay, cool, well, this is a 2-minute little session here. Okay, so how we wanna tackle one problem at a time, or you wanna choose a problem you feel most you have most information and insightful helpfulness with?
I put the teachers and staff to work on a campus-wide initiative to help navigate parents through how to help their students at home. There's a community and campus disconnect. School is not seen as a priority anymore. It's all over social media. You see students and parents that are just like, they don't seem to put into it the way that they used to. And then students themselves don't feel as though it matters whether they do well or not. They just keep moving along anyway. So maybe a campus initiative for those with higher scores, not necessarily honor roll and things like that we already do, but maybe like with the growth cards that we already have, maybe if you hit that growth goal, there is something that you receive from the campus, either an award or recognition in some way that will help, give that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to help guide students to actually try on these exams.
Okay, it's good.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you on that, because I feel like our ELA teachers, they work their butts off. They do,
Mhm.
it is hard work. And it is discouraging to see all the time when more is being dumped on us, and the support from admin is not being there in terms of the kids.
Right.
Yes, they come to us
Totally
and
agree.
tell us what we need to do, but how is admin putting that same pressure on the parents and the kids?
Right.
Yes.
Totally
Agreed.
You know?
Totally agree.
I'm not gonna say that, we're not working, I'm gonna say that it needs to be a balance there.
Right.
And so, to me, the question is, even like you said with the growth cards, have a conversation with those students about, this is what we're expecting from you.
Mhm.
If you do this, this is where we're at, and if not, let's work on a plan as to how we can work towards that,
Right. Right.
And that needs to be communicated to the parents, because
Yes.
the students see it, but the parents
They
have probably
have
never
no-
heard of it,
they've
never
never
know
had
what it
it.
is.
Like,
So to me, it's like, it's one-sided. Don't
Mhm.
exhaust your teachers, and that's what I'm seeing, and I'm
Yes.
feeling it even myself. You're exhausting your teachers,
mhm.
and we're the only ones feeling it,
Right.
So I think we need to have a balance.
There is a lot of pressure on the growth cards, especially for us teachers, because they're like, well, this is where they need to go, but you can't make the students care. I can teach and teach and teach, but if they sit in that test and they tab through it to the end and submit it, because they don't care, it looks like I didn't teach, even though, like Ms. Davis said, we teach and teach and teach, even instead, I'm up lecturing, doing everything I'm doing, but I can't make them try.
Right.
And it's very frustrating to be held to a standard that I can't control.
Right. And so I think it'll help if, again, we go back to the admin putting a little bit of pressure on the kids, but also on the parent. These parents, they just don't know.
No.
And if we don't help them to understand it, it's gonna stay the same,
Right.
so.
Maybe like even at orientation, like when the incoming sixth graders sit them down and be like, this is a growth card, this is what it's for, your student needs to achieve this by the end of the year, that's gonna take us, it's gonna take you, it's gonna take them, and, it's a team effort.
I think too, it may come off a little bit, it'll make more sense to the parent, because I know I have a senior, and I never focused on STAR with him. Thank God he never struggled in school, but I never focused on STAR. But the way that I explained it to him was by saying, this STAR test is, forget about STAR. This is helping me and you know if you're college ready.
Right.
Right.
And when you put it in that vocabulary and in those terms, they'll receive it better.
Right.
Parents can care less about STAR.
Yes.
But don't look at it as STAR, don't explain it as STAR. This is, we're working towards helping you be college ready or career ready. And so when they hear it like that, you don't wanna be taking care of your kid for the rest of their life. What are they going to do?
Right.
Then they'll get it.
And I've found that to piggyback off that's a motivator for some of my boys especially to want to work to get out of SPED, because they're very comfortable in there, right? We modify assignments, we modify grades, we modify everything, their life is modified. But as soon as they realize that they cannot get a scholarship to play football, all of a sudden, everybody knows how to write an essay. So it is amazing what a little bit of like truth can do, not to everybody, because some kids still don't care.
Right.
But there are plenty who they do have a goal for themselves and they don't realize the impact they're making. And I don't think, like Dave said, I don't think the parents realize the impact
Right.
that they're having.
Because we don't talk to them.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
don't, unless
We
it's
don't.
something in discipline,
Yeah.
that's mostly when we reach
You're
out.
right, yes.
Right, it's the only, well, for mine, and then as a college and career readiness, they definitely don't care, you know, because
Yes.
they're looking for that title in particular, whereas I'm issuing out essays every week.
Yes.
And they're drawn out from it, so they're not really hardly ever participating because they're just seeing the same thing, it's redundant, so it's like, well, or is this a grade, that's the next thing, so
Yes.
I've created ban questions. Don't ask it, everything you do in here is a grade.
That's what I
And
said.
then we have to start making it a major grade essays in order for them to even
Yeah.
wanna put in the work. So, yeah,
So our big word is make the connection.
yeah, okay, so we talked about it. So, gonna take a few minutes to think about what we just discussed. And then we're gonna write if the situation we can fix in the room, or is it just a vibe as we stated consistently, parents, communities, things of that nature. Can we influence it in some type of way? And then we're gonna just talk about it, or we could just take this 5 minutes to talk about it. How, okay,
I think we can
well, we can go
influence
past,
it,
okay.
but it is gonna take, everybody being on the same team, like, because Dave says it's gonna take the admins, they're gonna have to put less pressure on us, because know that as often as you guys pop into our room, we're on it every day, we're not sitting behind our desk eating chips, we're up there teaching every day, we're pouring ourselves into these kids, but it's not our sole responsibility whether they pass or fail, because it comes down to the parents making sure they understand the school is important and the students feeling that it's important.
Right.
And right now, especially in middle school, they don't care. I hear that they care more in high school because they see that end game, it's bigger up there.
Right.
But in here, they're still just kind of finding themselves, or, I don't know. But I feel like it would take a community-wide initiative to be like, okay, we're going to adjust how school runs, adjust how, let parents back onto the campus. When your kid's acting a fool, come sit next to them in class.
Yes.
So that you can see why their grade is this way. You can sit next to them and watch them sleep, even though I've
Ooh,
woken
that
them
is
up
a
4
big,
times.
that's a major issue, that is a major issue.
I wake up kids constantly, and then by the time I've woken you up 5 times, I'm taking away instruction from the kids who want to learn. So at that point, I'm just like, there's not much I can do.
Right.
It can be done, like I say, when I first started here, I was overwhelmed with how much support we actually received from the community. But when COVID hit, we struggled to get back there, but it's something that can happen, we may have to take it in phases, we know Rome wasn't built overnight, we know that.
Right.
But we can take it in phases, so that way we can see over the next couple years, right? We should be able to see, okay,
Right.
now the ship is starting to turn.
Correct.
Yeah, because mind you, I showed you, we went up that little 1 point to
Yeah.
show growth.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's it, we just be
That's
on that
something
way.
we need to build
Yeah,
on
we
that
build on it.
momentum, yeah.
Well,
Right.
you can't create intrinsic motivation. That comes from the kids wanting to do well, and right now they just don't. You have some that do, and those are your honors kids and your kids that
Right.
are meeting and mastering. But like the data shows, most of our kids, they do the bare minimum, and it shows in their test scores because they're just skirting by, because that's all they gotta do to stay on the football team or out of trouble with mom.
Right.
Where's the high expectations? In college they say the higher your expectations, the higher your kids will come up. But we cannot be the only people that have the expectation.
Exactly. Okay, so let's press the time. We're doing fairly well here, so let's go back. Well, no, let's move forward, then we'll go backwards. Okay, so you have this document, and you're going to have to take 7 minutes. I'm just trying to gauge time or however, and answer these questions. So, basically it is a roadmap to trying to get the students back on track. We're gonna identify, can't see here, identify what is hidden. Wait, is that it? What's stopping them from doing it? And then also, why is this happening? This is for the students this time. We kind of brushed on it, but let's come to the problem overall. We've done the schools, the educators. Now we're identifying students, and we're going to do an evaluation. So I'll narrow this few minutes down to 2, since that seems like that's how it's going, right? And then we'll identify a problem, come up with a plan, and then we're going to enjoy our weekend. Okay, so we'll kind of just work on these together for the sake of time. So the first one is, what is stopping our students? The main issue, so that we can come up with a problem statement as a whole.
I put the students' lack of motivation to perform.
Okay.
Same thing up
We all think, yeah, okay, so check.
Yeah, I just put I said lack of motivation and support. That's what you said, right? So, yeah.
Okay, so why is this happening? See, we all come to an agreement.
I put there are no real consequences or praise when they do or do not perform. Students do not understand why they should perform.
Okay. Almost there. I said foundation. The ones who perform, they have a strong foundation. The ones that don't perform, they don't have a foundation. So
Okay.
foundation for me is key.
Okay, so for those who need a little push and come on baby and all this other good stuff. So what do we need to do to get them back on track?
So I wrote, begin with community involvement, possibly offer weekend sessions for parents when they're off of work to learn about how to help their students and what these goals really mean. Give students a reason for trying at first, something extrinsic to pull them back and then pull that back as success grows. As they begin to see their own progress, they won't need as much, coddling, and then you can kind of pull back the reward system until they kind of begin to just go back to the way it used to be, where you want to do good because you want to do good.
Okay. For me, I always, personally, and even with, my profession and where I'm going in the future, I always, and even with my son, I ask him this all the time, what is your why? And yes, that's something that adults can have conversations about, but kids need to understand what is the why, what is your why?
Right.
And so again, having conversations with them and their parents, cause their parents need to me, it's almost like they need to be in a binding contract, you know? The why, what is the why is this important, you know? And yes, you're gonna eventually, you know, walk away from middle school and high school, but your why starts now.
Right.
You know, and so, helping parents to push their kids to understand that, it'll all come full circle, so.
Okay, so let's all come to the problem statement. So we all pretty much summed it up. We need to, the problem is lack of motivation and support, basically. Okay, so lack of motivation and support. Okay, but when it comes to the terms of written responses, because that is our focal point. These written responses.
Another one of these on written responses.
Okay. Well, we will talk, that will be part of the planning, but a statement problem, what are some of the issues there?
For what?
For, written responses.
I think for written responses, they don't write.
They don't write.
So, you know, I think the more that, you know, we have them write and hear good writing and read good writing, you know, because you gotta think about it, they're on their phones, you know,
Yes.
so their type of writing is not what we grew up on, you know, so I think just them, the more practice in hearing it and seeing it, you know, and just holding their feet to the fire, like we're doing, you know, we're doing good work, it's just, and then again, what happened to the days of, you know, when you go home, you read something and you write about what you read, you know, so
Book
again, it comes
reports and
back
things
to,
like that,
yeah, it comes back to, you gotta keep it going at home too.
And to piggyback off of that too is I feel like some strategies, like the race strategy, right? I feel like it almost ruins writing because in a way, these kids look at it like a checklist. Okay, I restated, and I answered, and I cited a piece of evidence, and I explained that it's 4 sentences, I'm done. And so I feel like it almost like limits them in a way, and then sometimes I wonder, are we really preparing them for college by writing essays like this? Because when I read essays, I know I'm in SPID, but even when I read like good essays, I look at this and I'm like, this would never fly in college. Like they would have shot that right back and been like, absolutely not writing. So I feel like there's that. And then I did notice, so I don't use the iPads a lot in my classroom. We do a lot of paper and pencil. And I do notice that my scores have increased since going back to pen and paper. And they can use their iPads for spelling support. The students who don't know how to spell, they can say it to their iPad and copy it down. But we do a lot of pencil and paper in my class, and I have noticed an increase in their abilities and their stamina of being able to do things like that.
It's funny you should say that, because that's where we are, we're planning. So, I am going to thoroughly agree with you, because while I was teaching early, that was my go-to. When we had pencil colors.
Yep.
We did this, you know, you wrote it out, and it was different, you were able to understand which parts you were missing because you didn't have that color. So, let's come up with a plan for a few minutes, you know, for the sake of time. So.
One of the things I feel like we're also lacking is time for written responses, because we throw them at the kids, right? And we're like, okay, here's an ECR, here's the prompt, you're gonna write it, they load up some pages from a story. But what if I feel like we don't draft, we don't go back and revise it, we don't like have the teacher read your draft, correct it, give it back to you with feedback, then you rewrite it, then you go and turn in the essay. I feel like it's like a cold write more often, and I don't know if maybe doing the writing process more would be beneficial for them.
Okay. So.
For me, cause I see every teacher attacks it a little bit different. So when I think about writing, my major was English, so I'm a little bit more in depth with it. For me, I think about writing like when I was in college, and you had writing centers or writing stations, you know, and that was all you focused on once a week, you know?
Yes.
So maybe having a station where everybody has to complete a writing station at least once a week, and it's something, or you can work on it a little bit every day.
Every day, right.
You know what I mean? To where when you get to that final day, you see the process of what it took to get to this published piece, you know? That's just what my mind goes. That way you can kind of slow it down, and it's not so overwhelming for them to try to, like you say, rush, and you're doing a poor job just to say you did it.
Okay, well, we are going to leave it at that. I do like the ideas and plans that we have or come up with. I do agree with both of you. Also, with implementing on my end, some of those same things, which we do. You know, I'm in a different area of teaching with the CTE area, but it still can be implemented the same way. So, I do appreciate you ladies for coming in and helping me with this. And we will input more of the stations. I think that would be to start off there.
Yeah.
And then maybe next week or so, we'll gather the other things and ladies that's gonna agree to come in, and then we can do this again. And then form a general plan together so that we can put it in effect. Okay? And see if it's working. All right, I appreciate you ladies, and make sure you have a good weekend.
Well, I have to tell y'all, Miss Johnson, you're gonna be mad at me.
Oh,
Oh, no.
I only got 31 minutes.
What happened?
You know what? I thought I was recording, I ain't gonna lie. I said, ooh, she gonna kill me. The first 15 minutes, I'm just sitting up here holding this thing. Y'all,
Right.
it was really good, and I truly apologize.
It's like, I'm so into that.
Hey, I thought I was recording for real, y'all. I'm sitting up here like this here. I'm up here, whole recording, okay? I'm like, oh, Lord, have mercy, Jesus. She only got 30.
Man, look here, I have
30
to
minutes.
record, and that's just kind of what I have to, how I have to do it.
How you have to go with it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I want to say it on here, because I've been sitting back here recording the whole time.
Well,
Ain't-
when you go home, look at it and see, you know.
If you
what-
need us to
yeah,
flip it a little bit more, let us know.
yeah.
Look, I'm getting all this on camera.
Arrangements in and go in the room.
I'm putting all this on the video so they know you really did do over 45 minutes.
Just tell
She
her it
did.
was
Technical difficulties on the video person. Hey, charge it to my head, not my heart, for real, because I was seriously back here recording. It happens all the time, y'all. Every time I'm on my phone, I'm thinking I'm recording. I'm like, I ain't recorded not one
We
thing.
went over, I heard the time ago, I was like, Lord have mercy, and we just really going on.
No, hey, y'all did really good. Hey,
conversation like this more often.
actually, you need it, you know, and you picked some good candidates, because I was back here like, yeah.
I told you the Lord doing this here.
He in control, okay?
Baby, you
Nobody but him.